Welcome to Over the Falls podcast with myself, Dave Lewis, Med Rendell, and Luke Dukes Jones. The premise for this podcast is to break the stigma that men don't talk, to sit down, chat, and try and put the world to right. Initially, we'll be picking our subjects at random, but as we go further along in the podcast series, we'll be introducing guests from the local area, nationally, and who knows, even internationally. So here we go. Okay, here we go then, boys. Over the Falls podcast number 11. As Halloween is looming, we thought we'd keep this one lighthearted and talk about our favourite horror films and scariest scenes.
Nice.
So without further ado, let's just get into it.
All right.
No messing about.
So, jumpy films, right?
Okay.
What Lies Beneath? Remember that one?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a very jumpy.
Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
straight into it,
Shel
yeah.
Pfeiffer.
Very good.
You're right, jumpy though.
Mate, so jumpy. Remember in
Yeah.
the cinema, and there's a scene where they're panning across, like looking at the neighbours, and like you see that one neighbour looking straight back at him, and I was like, whoa.
Tell you what, one thing
Straight
I
out
will
of the
say
skin.
about that movie, Harrison Ford is jacked in that movie.
He is jacked in that
He's-
movie.
He's literally about 65,
Yeah.
and he is stacked in that movie. That's one
Yeah,
thing I
he's
remember
actually a
about
beast.
that
And he's-
movie.
He's a nutter in that, isn't he?
Yeah,
he does
he's
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like hiding an affair or something and killed a woman, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, really. Sorry, there's probably going to be a lot of spoilers in
There's
this.
going to be
episode.
loads of spoilers in this
Oh, yeah, if
episode,
you
by
were
the way,
talking
everybody.
about
Yeah.
a movie or a series, maybe skip on a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a real good jumpy one.
Oh yeah.
It is A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. Quiet Place.
Yes.
Have you not seen that?
Yes, A Quiet Place is in when they can't make a noise.
Yeah.
That
They've got
one.
those demigorgons and everything
Is that-
jumping out, and when you can't make a sound,
And that kid's toy goes off
Yes.
on the bridge.
I've
so
seen two.
everything's really quiet.
I've seen two. I think I'm getting confused. There's one with Sandra Bullock, but that's about birds. The Bird Box film.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think I've
that's
seen
the
that
one.
one.
when she's
Yeah.
blindfolded.
Oh, that's it. So it's not. That's not mostly about
That's
sound.
pretty good, but yeah, no, that's not the
Because
same one.
they can't look at the beasts in that, whatever
You know,
it
I
is.
can't
And
even
then-
remember. I remember in a canoe or
Who
something with
is
kids.
in? It's the guy from The Office. The American Office is in the one you're talking about, isn't he?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I've,
I've
yeah,
never
I
put
have
those
seen
two
that.
together.
I have seen
Neither
that.
have
Yeah,
I.
really
No.
jumpy actually.
And also,
Yeah.
the second one is really good because I remember
They're
Dave
both
recommended
brilliant.
the second one to me. I thought I'd seen it. Then me and Nick watched it, and it was amazing. And I was like,
I haven't
no, I
seen
haven't
that.
seen that one. Number one and number two.
Yeah. They're both really good films and really, really jumpy.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
getting jumped because it's like you can't fake that.
No, you can't.
When you get jumped, you're like,
Yeah, another one then, jumpy bits, is Jaws, obviously, when that sort of head comes out of the bottom of the boat.
it's a masterpiece, that film. I'll never
Yeah.
stop saying it.
The decapitated head with like the eyeballs
Yep.
sort of thing. Yeah.
That one, that's a really jumpy scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's flawless horror, that bit.
Yeah.
'Cause you know it's going to come. You know something's going to come in that dark hole. You know it's going to come, and you're like...
so quiet, and then it's just like, this is
And his
horrible,
head.
and it just hits you hard.
And then you
really
hear,
hard.
you hear
Volume 10.
Hooper,
Bang.
you hear Hooper like screaming underwater as well. Like, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Talking about underwater, going back to What Lies Beneath, the bath scene. in
Oh, yeah.
What Lies Beneath. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he drugs
Saw
her in
another
the
one as well.
bath,
Yeah.
and she has to let the plug hole out with her toe.
The toe who
Remember
just
that?
starts waking up.
Yeah.
And she can't really move her body because he's like drugged her, and she's literally like the water's rising, and she's literally gonna die in the bath. Oh, it's a good movie.
That's
that.
it.
He is horrific in that film.
And
Real
stacked.
nasty piece of work.
Yeah, he is
and
absolutely
stacked.
stacked.
Yeah, big issue.
The Shining.
Yeah.
I've just
okay.
thought, yeah, but jumpy scenes. You know that scene when he starts kissing that woman in the bath, and she turns into an old lady. Like,
Yes.
like
She's like an
oh.
attractive woman to start with, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years, but then
No,
she
it's one
goes
to
minging,
watch.
right?
Oh, like yeah,
Yeah.
Like
like
rotten, like
yes,
and old,
Scary
really,
looking.
like almost basically an old corpse.
Like she's got leprosy.
oh,
Porridge,
and the rest.
porridge in the bath.
really horrible, really, really horrible. I've got to say though, with horrors, I don't watch many anymore because I do get the heebie-jeebies. It takes me ages to get stuff like that out of my head. So like more recently, I haven't watched a huge amount of horrors.
Okay.
But more like thrillers, thinking they're going to be just thrillers, but then they turn out like Babadook.
Oh, okay.
For
yeah.
example, I thought that was going to be a thriller.
Nope.
Hell no.
It's quite scary.
That was
not.
scary.
Quite
That was
scary.
really, really
Yeah,
scary.
that was.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most recent ones I've seen, I think.
Insidious.
I haven't seen that.
Is it? Yeah, sure. It's called
My
Insidious.
mum can't watch Insidious.
What is that then? What's that?
To be fair, I think I might. Oh, is that the one when
Insidious means like something like you're exposed to torturous things. Like insidious is a terrible, horrible word that means very deep torture and stuff like that. Probably butchered that, but the film is like about a family, I think, or a boy that's got a demon attached to him.
Oh, okay.
Ew.
Oh, I hate stuff
Yeah.
like that. I really,
and you're
really don't
telling
like
the
stuff like
parents,
that.
and the parents don't really like believe the child. There's quite a lot of movies that do that, though, isn't it? I suppose with that
A lot.
storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The lights
classic.
don't work when they're going upstairs and stuff.
Getting dragged out of the bed on the baby cam.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that film earlier. What is that one?
Hang on.
When the
it
blanket gets
Paranormal?
activity.
Paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Paranormal
Yeah, they
activity.
get dragged out of the bed, don't they?
Terrifying.
Yeah,
some
so I
of
wanted
those
to
moments.
Pretty
talk
gross,
about
pretty
the
gross.
different genres, but we can do that a bit later. But like, we've mentioned a lot of different genres already.
Straight into it.
Because we're getting all excited
Horror.
about horror movies.
Yeah, like because there's chillers,
Yeah.
there's jumpy ones, there's slashers,
Slashers.
Yeah,
there's absolute gore fests
Yeah.
like Brain Dead,
Brain Dead.
which actually I found out has been renamed.
is
Hang
it?
on, I should know this. Bad Taste? No, Bad Taste was before
That's the
Brain
first
Dead.
one, yeah. Dead Alive, it's called.
I never knew that. No.
That is nuts.
I remember it as Brain Dead.
Really strange.
It's the most goriest-
Australian.
yeah.
Australian horror?
Yeah, Australian.
Yeah.
Well, it's Peter Jackson, isn't it? Peter Jackson's
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
film, I think.
Yeah, do you remember when it came out, The Lord of the Rings, that Peter Jackson was going to be directing those? And I'm like, hang on, isn't that the guy who did Brain Dead?
Yeah.
We
I
were
was
all
literally
laughing our
thinking
heads off
that is
about
going to
it.
be the worst film ever.
Yeah.
So I remember like the grandma trying to eat like the rice pudding, and then she's got like a boil on her arm, and it like shoots blood into the rice pudding. And then someone thinks it's jam in the rice pudding, and they're like nailing this rice pudding. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this film?
What is going on there?
bloody lovely.
And the lawnmower scene,
Oh, it's
and
legendary.
he
that
like
scene.
mows through like 50
what's his
people.
name? Oh, what is his name? He's like, Sydney's here or something. He's like going to walk through all these people.
He's a little bit of a nerd. I just remember that blender scene as well.
The baby in the blender.
Oh, just gross.
It's a great film, though.
Oh.
If you just want to just sit back and enjoy mindless gore.
Absolute carnage.
Don't they boot that?
It's comedic, I think. It's really funny.
Don't they boot that baby in the park? Like drop kick him?
Yeah, he drop kicks the baby and he's always wearing that little onesie, like red and white stripes, I think.
Don't worry, it's not a real baby. It's like a demon
definitely
baby.
a demon
You
baby.
definitely want to kick him.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my
But
god.
that's up there with one of the goriest films I've ever seen, I think. Still.
Gore doesn't bother me.
No,
Weirdly,
no.
it doesn't bother me at all. It's the psychological stuff that really gets.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, I think-
especially the
yeah.
demon stuff.
You're right, though. It's quite
the stuff
funny
that plays
as well.
on your mind. Yeah.
It has a
tongue-in-cheek.
comedy value to it, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
really like vats of blood.
It's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some of the stuff that happens in it is you invent things in your head and you're like, oh, it's all in Brain Dead or Dead Alive.
Yeah.
It's gross.
It came from like a monkey as well. Do you remember the beginning of the
Yeah,
movie?
the monkey bites
Yeah.
bites the mum, I think, or the old lady.
Somebody's going on like a safari, they get bitten, and then they come back to New Zealand or the States or wherever they
Yes.
are, and then they bring back this brain dead disease.
Yeah,
If you're watching this and you haven't seen Brain Dead,
put it on.
watch it.
Yeah, it is good.
But yeah, that I don't even know what I'd call that genre. I wouldn't call that a slasher. A slasher is like Friday the 13th,
Gore,
Halloween, Scream, even maybe.
Scream.
It-
The
it's
first
like
Scream was really good.
so-
So
newer
we should,
stuff.
yeah, we
was
should
good.
definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
That film is perfection to me as well. Like
Oh,
it's
okay.
in
Film.
horror.
it's like a
it's-
late 90s, early 2000s, isn't it? I
The
think
first
around
scene.
that.
Do you remember that first scene? That's
on the phone.
Do you know what the worst thing about that though
Horrible.
is like
Scary
Scary
movie.
movie.
Oh, I know. It's
Totally
ruined
ruined
it.
Totally
innit?
ruined it.
Totally
But-
ruined
Because
it.
on the phone to her, his like legs behind the sofa, laughing his head off. But no, that you're right. That first scene in when it came out,
Drew
was
Barrymore
really
and
scary.
and the mum's scream when
Yeah.
she sees her hanging from the tree, stabbed up dead. Oh my god!
You're
Best
right though.
scream I've ever.
It was kind of ruined. It's a little bit like how Bo Selector ruined the career of
Craig David.
of Craig David.
Bo
Do you know what I mean?
Selector
You
is
can maybe
insane.
enjoy some music, and then Bo Selector comes on, you're like, you cannot enjoy that music anymore. It just
No.
trashes it.
He
I look
does
back at
absolutely
some
trash it.
things that have been popular, and I can't believe that happened.
No,
Oh my word!
I completely forgot about Scream.
What were they thinking?
That was a good one.
When
Really
they go
good
to the
one.
mansion though on Scary Movie, 2 maybe.
Yeah.
You know the one with the parrot in the cage, and then the guy was like, "Take my strong hand, child."
Oh, like,
that guy.
He's horrible.
What is that movie that they're like ripping in the haunted house?
I don't know, actually. That's a good point.
Because they're like,
Wouldn't it be something like I Know What You Did Last
parodying.
Summer or something like that? Wouldn't it be one of those?
maybe, I don't know, but that's really funny as well.
Yeah.
That's a slasher, isn't it? That one.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. What was the one
It's
where you
pretty
sort of...
bad, I think. It's not the best film.
Probably not. Probably not if we went back to watch it now.
No, seen that years and years ago.
Yeah.
It's like the same sort of level of entertainment as the Final Destination films.
Just thinking of that as well.
Yeah, they're like the
Yeah,
same
that's what I was
level
thinking in my
of, I don't know, production and fear and gore.
Yeah.
It's like teenagers not knowing what they're doing and
Yeah.
lights
It's kind of like
not
that
working.
American
And,
Pie sort of like era, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it is.
It was really
Churning
good.
them out, they were.
Oh, they were hammering
They
them
took
out.
a pretty simple idea, didn't they? Like pretty simple idea, and then they made somehow like 5 movies out of that.
Yeah.
Where you're driving behind a truck and it's full of logs, and you're like, that log's gonna come off and
Yeah.
and kill someone, and then it's just all
but then
that,
I like
isn't
how
it?
it's an interesting premise because say that log, why was it loose? You know, like, and
Yeah.
then it goes back in time to where the lumberjack like flicked a cigarette and it hit a raccoon and the raccoon ran against the tree. It's like
They're
all
cursed,
these weird
aren't they?
little.
Aren't they
situations.
cursed or something? Like they're destined
Well,
to
they've
die.
cheated
Well,
death.
they cheat
haven't
death. So death's coming after them, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
death's
the
coming after
premise.
them, and
Ah,
they
right,
try
okay.
and they
Yeah.
try to
It's really
cheat it
clever.
again. Yeah, it's a really good premise, but like 5 films.
Oh, they strung it out.
I don't know.
They got some money out of that one.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
squeeze that. They milk
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Milk that cow.
I really enjoyed the first one though because it was a new concept, wasn't it? It's like,
Definitely.
whoa!
I just remember him sitting in the airport and saw the plane explode.
Yeah.
He was like, I should have been on that
If
plane.
I'd get on that plane.
And then something was like, just felt like something was chasing him then.
Yeah,
It was good. Really good.
yeah, that is a good one actually. Number 1, same Saw. Saw 1.
You know what? The
Yes.
original Saw, I think when I watched that movie, that kind of maybe even went into like my top 10 when I originally watched it.
Yeah.
because
Really
it
good.
Had such a good twist in the end, didn't it? Do
Yeah.
you remember like the twist and he was lying on the floor the whole time?
Yeah, he was.
Remember that?
He was
on
the
the
dead
bathroom.
guy
He
in
was
the
the dead
wall.
guy,
yeah.
And then he like cut his own leg off with like a hacksaw maybe or something, or his
Yeah,
arm,
at
I
the
can't
ankle.
remember. But he was there the whole, Jigsaw, he was there
Jigsaw,
the
that's
whole
it.
time playing dead. And like that first one was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
The rest of them, not so much.
They drew that one out as well, didn't they? Didn't they have like 7?
There's a lot of
Wasn't
Saws.
it?
Yeah.
But so did like the old sort of Friday the 13th and Halloweens. They went up to like 4 or 5.
Well,
6,
Halloween,
I'm sure
there was a new one that literally came out this Halloween
Yeah.
Yeah.
with Jamie Lee Curtis, the original
It's
actress.
the end. It's called Halloween Ends.
This is the final one, isn't
Thank
it?
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's done
the
well,
last-
old Michael
the last
Myers.
5
hasn't he?
haven't been the best, but
Number 1 was good.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a good twist in the end of it too. Talking about another twist in a horror movie. And also Psycho. I know we're bouncing around a lot now.
Bouncing around
but
loads,
that
which is good.
has such a good sort of twist at the end of that film.
Yeah.
So the end of Psycho when he's looking at the camera and Hitchcock splices that skull into his face when he says that line, you know, I'd never even hurt a fly. Like that is genius.
Yeah.
And it's really scary because his mind is.
What year was that?
50s or 60s maybe. 60s?
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Well,
It's pretty old, right?
Oh gosh,
I'm guessing it's 60s.
I reckon it's earlier than that.
You reckon it's 50s?
Yeah, that's why we need a fact checker.
We do.
Yeah.
But
But I'd say
love
it is
that.
because it's black and white.
Yes,
Wasn't it?
Totally black
Hitchcock
and white.
movies. I love Hitchcock movies. Like
I haven't seen many.
the
seen the birds.
Rear Window, is it called?
Dude.
That's going to be really
I
good.
love
isn't
it.
it?
Really good film.
Really
that is.
good movie. That
And there's
is.
a really psychological bit where, do you remember? There's like spoilers. They're digging something in the backyard,
yeah.
and I think they camp up to watch somebody doing something at night, and then they realize someone's watching them because he's smoking a cigarette in the dark,
Yeah.
and you can see the cigarette lighting up, and they're like, "Uh-oh."
So good. Also, I think
It's absolutely brilliant,
Other
that is.
movie, well, obviously other movies take stuff from Hitchcock, but even something like The Burbs, even, and they're sort of like watching them, and they're watching them move in these
Yeah.
like black bags, and they're like, "What is going on?" I don't know. Movies take a lot from other movies, don't they? But
Definitely.
Rear Window is like really good.
I need to watch that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
one,
a
yeah.
really.
I've seen it.
I didn't want to give too much away, but that scene really, I remember it very well because
And he's
imagine someone watching you, and you know.
Mm.
Oh,
Just found
yeah,
out they're
feeling
watching-
watched.
They've seen what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's like in a he's in like a wheelchair with his leg up, isn't he? So that makes it worse, isn't it? If something does happen,
Oh, it's a good film, that is.
yeah.
You just thought, we're going to be going here. I can feel it. Misery.
Yeah, misery.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just you talked about them in the wheelchair, the leg up, and I just thought about that because we talked about this on Saturday, didn't we?
We need to chuck that into a basket of probably one of the most shocking pieces of cinema
It's actually terrifying.
that ever came across my eyes.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Kathy Bateman in that film is incredible.
Hang on, Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates,
Is
sorry,
Kathy Bates?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of American Psycho, which I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Pat Bateman.
Pat Bateman.
He
Yes.
is up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kathy Bates, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
God, she's amazing in that.
But
she's good.
the filming of that scene is so. It looks so real. And
So we're talking about. Do you want to
horrible.
describe?
You take it.
Well, I think you'd be better at this because we did discuss this Saturday when we were.
So this poor guy, right? I'm going to zap through the film very quickly. There's this dedicated fan of this writer. The writer, luckily for her, crashes. She gets to look after him, kind of a bit by force, because she starts drugging him and stuff. Anyway, she finds out he's trying to escape, so she hobbles him. Hobbling is where you get a person's ankle in a sort of a brace with 2 blocks of wood, and you smash the foot with a sledgehammer.
Oh my god!
And you see it in the film.
You do.
And it's
But she was infatuated with this author, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
she
She was
was
like his number one
absolutely
fan,
gone.
and
Yeah.
it was like jackpot for her. And she was obviously an
she
absolute.
plays that role
Freak.
incredible.
Oh,
I think it's a
yeah.
Stephen King. I think it's a
No,
Stephen
I
King
think it
mystery.
is. I think
Yes.
you're right. Stephen
He's
King
got a lot.
films.
He's got a lot to answer for. Hasn't he?
It.
Oh, it.
Yeah.
Right, old v
The
new.
original It.
Old v new.
The one with Curry in it. Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Curry was Pennywise.
That scared
Yes.
me so much.
That was really
That
scary.
scared me
It was a
so
3-hour long
much.
film as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? Late 80s?
Yeah, I think it was like, I remember going to like ABBA Video, I think it was, and you look at all those old
And it just
VHS
said
tapes,
it.
and it used to say $99 on them, isn't it? Because they had to buy them
course
for
it did.
loads of money,
Yeah.
and then they'd rent them out for a couple of quid or a couple of bucks or whatever country it was, to slowly recoup the money back because they released the movie
Yeah.
months earlier, isn't it? And I always remember that going to ABBA Video.
ABBA
thinking,
Video
that's
was
$100 that VHS, and there was like Children of the Corn and like Tales of the Crypt,
Oh,
and
Hellraiser.
all those sort of like 80s, 90s horror movies. Yeah, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah.
All the classics.
I was obsessed with walking downstairs because it was 18s only. So
Yeah.
like you walk in
Yeah.
and it's all the films, and then you go downstairs and it was like a little basement of
It
like
was.
Yeah.
doom. It was just
Used to love
I love
video shops,
picking up-
even Blockbuster.
Absolutely love
Yeah.
video
Used
shops.
to love
Yeah.
going to Blockbuster in Swansea.
It's really crazy how that just does not exist anymore.
No, I remember the smell of peer video,
Peer video.
and I remember the smell like
Streaming
just
just
browsing what
murdered
to watch.
that.
You're like,
So
what
good.
should I watch tonight?
It was nice. It was something, I guess it's nostalgia, isn't it? It's something quite nostalgic and nice thinking about going into ABBA Video or
Yeah.
Peer Video.
Yeah.
Just getting a video or a DVD, isn't it, later on? And
We're really looking forward to watching a film when you go in there. It's got that red triangle on top, says out on loan. You're absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
You've got to try and
the
find
red
something
triangle,
else.
yes, the paperclip. Oh.
or they didn't have any mint poppets. Like, what the hell? But yeah, love like a movie night
Yeah.
back in the day.
Oh, amazing.
Now it's mad, isn't it? You just sit down, you open up your TV, and you've got so much at your fingertips.
I feel like you've got
Too
too
much
much choice.
You never know what to fucking pick.
20 minutes of searching. By
Yeah.
that point, you're like, oh,
I'm
I'm
tired.
actually
It's
tired
kind of
now.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, those days, and yeah, Peer Video, because I think it was ABBA Video was a bit earlier, wasn't it? But then I remember going to Peer Video.
Bridge
as
Street
well.
have a video, isn't it?
It's where
Yeah,
Ed
the one
Nelly's
on-
is now.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, what was the one opposite KFC? What was that one?
Ooh.
There was a video shop opposite KFC.
Bloody hell, I think you're right. I can't
Remember that
remember
one?
the name of that
Definitely.
one. though. Yeah.
Remember that one? It's quite a big one.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there was. Oh, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, someone can remember
Someone's
this
going to
now.
come back. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Let us know.
Sure.
Let us know. I got nothing.
I'm pretty sure that was a video shop. Unless I'm just remembering it totally wrong.
Well, I don't know.
But
with like that era then, so like 80s, 90s sort of stuff, because there was no CGI.
No.
It was all prosthetics and all like
Yeah.
jumpy stuff, and all like the Nightmare on Elm Street for one. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Really, really horrible.
Yeah, I think
that really
that's-
gave me the heebie-jeebies. And we
I
were
mean-
too young to be watching them, but we ended up watching them anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're like
we were way
VHS,
too young
like
to watch them.
pirate videos floating about. Or,
Plus, it's like it was easier. It was really weird. You could just go over to like your house or your house and like, yeah, we're fine. We're just right, watching bodyboarding, the most scariest films, whatever.
I blame Gavin. So Gavin, if you're listening, I directly blame you.
My elder
because
brother.
I went over
100%.
to where you used to live, Dave, isn't it? Obviously, Gav was there too.
Yeah.
And then you had Freddy Krueger 3.
3.
And
Is that the one with the bus?
how old were we, do you reckon?
Is that the school
12
bus one with
if
the
that?
veins?
No, probably
I reckon younger than that, you know.
Probably younger.
Because I'm pretty sure I remember, like, I at least maybe went into, like, my parents' bed or something. Like, honestly, I had such bad nightmares. And I remember the one specific scene that I remember is someone, I can't remember who it was, but they're in a hospital and then their veins are coming out of their arm, and then Freddy Krueger is like a puppet master controlling them through the hospital. And that really, it just really freaked me out. I don't think I've ever seen anything as sort of visceral or like scary in my life at that age.
Think about what
And
you
I
just said.
It's gross.
It's absolutely horrible.
It is horrible.
Oh yeah.
It really is horrible.
I can't remember if it was a girl or
No, it was a guy, I
or a
remember.
guy.
Guy.
But I remember
Picture it
them in
now.
like the sort of the blue typical sort of, I don't know, scrubs or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it, and then they literally like being controlled by their veins and like that. Yeah, that's one of the early memories of like being really, really scared and thinking I probably shouldn't be watching this. A little bit like The Exorcist, thinking probably watch that too
I
young
think
when it
we-
was banned. But yeah,
Yeah, but I watched that when I was
We watched
18.
that way too early, I think.
17 or 18. So it was,
I thought it was early in that. No,
because I'm sure. Oh, you're right. Actually, I may have been 16 watching that.
yeah,
I watched it at Cal's house with you.
I thought it was.
I don't know where. I've only seen it one time after that. I've seen The Exorcist twice. That's it.
Yeah,
Ever.
I've
Yeah,
watched
I've
it
seen
once.
I've seen it a few times.
But that was on like a really. It was a pirate VHS.
Yes,
But
'cause,
like
yeah.
had to adjust the tracking and things on it, so it was like really hard to watch at one point. Adjust the tracking and
All the white noise.
Definitely showing our age.
I'll tell you,
Talking
I'll tell you who it was. It was
tracking.
Mark Gornall. Mark Gornall had it on
I was
video.
going to say. I was
It
going to
was
say
him.
it.
Well,
but
if
yeah,
he's
remember now,
listening, he's got
remember
a lot
him.
to answer
It was
for.
Mark Gornall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's say we watched that when I was 16. I think I discussed it in the last films episode, but
Yeah.
I'm 40 now, and I wish I never watched it. Still,
Yeah.
it's 22 years ago.
My mother has never watched it, and she never will. Never.
Potentially
Don't
a
get me-
good stance on it.
It's done its job though. As a horror,
Yeah.
that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It's horrific.
Yeah, it is
Okay,
horrific.
what is the worst scene for you talking about it? I know you've only maybe seen it a couple of times, but it's obviously like deeply affected you.
Mate, look at my
What-
hands. I'm
what-
like I'm getting like really clammed up here because I
what
actually
is-
hate that.
What is
film.
the worst scene in that then for you?
There's actually two scenes, right? One of them is actually deleted.
I
And you can
think
only find it on YouTube.
I think I know the one. You're gonna
Stupidly
talk
went
about
looking for stuff because I was
Is this
like, oh.
is this the upside down crab spider walking on the staircase one? Is that the
I
one?
don't even want to talk about this.
It's that
'cause
one
it's
though,
giving
isn't
me the heebie-jeebies now as I'm talking about it. It's horrible. So there's loads of stuff in that film. It's the sound, it's the visual, the sound of that girl's voice. Real deep, grungy, growly demon voice.
Yeah.
I can hear it now. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Tubular bells.
I like that song.
Yeah, I like
I
it
really
too,
like that
but it
song.
reminds me of The Exorcist
Yes.
a lot. I can't
Yeah,
listen to that.
it was a theme, wasn't
Yeah, I
it?
can't listen to that song and not think of
Oh, no.
of like the little street light and the guy rocking up and it's like raining a little bit. And,
Yeah.
Harris
like
or
basically
Reverend Harris, or whatever he's called.
the poster of The Exorcist.
But it's just the way, like, her body is just like convulsing. She's getting like whipped up and down
On the bed.
On the bed, she's getting
Yeah.
lifted up, and she's just her back is arched. It's just the shape of her, the everything, the way
abnormal
she
as fuck, isn't it?
moves. It's horrible,
yeah.
absolutely horrible. But as horror, well done, well done. Whoever
Oh,
made that,
yeah.
I can't remember who made it. But have you seen the document? I watched a
That's a good
documentary
question,
on it as well.
actually. Who did make that film?
And they were filming people coming out of the cinema after watching it.
Yeah.
Late 70s, I guess, is it?
I think so.
Probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, they were just like,
Stunned.
that was just, they couldn't even speak, some of these people.
No. I think the 70s was probably a pretty shocking era for movies because I don't want to jump to it maybe quite yet, but we'll go back to the Exorcist. But Alien.
Yeah.
I think that was like
Great film.
1979-ish.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And it's also sci-fi, a little bit of horror, isn't it, mixed in as well. And people were like obviously shocked by that scene.
Well, the
You know?
the hook for that film was like, in space, no one can hear you scream. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Like that's just gold.
Yeah.
Absolute gold.
It is.
But yeah,
Hell of a phrase.
70s. But yeah, we can go back to The Exorcist though. I just wanted to, yeah, because that's, I don't know.
For me, with The Exorcist, before I watched it, the film just came with this aura of like
Oh,
Yeah.
fear.
definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
And there was so many rumors going around about like how much the actress endured, the girl who played Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene apparently when she's doing that
On the bed.
Yeah.
she's in this machine like with her legs, and that's real screaming. She's in pain.
Oh man,
Because I mean, that's a rumor,
Could
and
well
that
be.
surrounded the film when I watched it, and I just thought, I can't believe I'm about to watch. I just thought it was like I thought it was like the naughtiest thing I've ever done. Like it was like watching The Exorcist.
I think it's
Like,
knowing
oh
it's
my God.
banned is like the added thing, isn't it? And you've got like the videotape that you're probably not really meant to have or watch it, and it's
Got to
banned
wait
in.
until like Kel's parents went to bed and like watch it really late, sneak downstairs.
I think that's added. It adds to it, doesn't it? Particularly when you're young and you think like, I think there was like, that was that thing called Faces of Death or something like that. It was in one of the video shops. Remember Faces of Death?
Yeah.
And I think it had gross stuff like beheadings on it and weird. That was in Peer Video, and it was called Faces of Death. And I remember, I think it was Ant had it. Or something.
Really?
Yeah, similar to stuff like there was like UFC 1 and things.
Oh, okay.
And there was also like that Faces of Death
Death.
in there.
Well,
Crazy.
straying slightly, but sort of on the same track. FHM once a year would do. FHM was a weird magazine. For Him magazine, it was called. I don't think it's still going. I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't think
But
so.
do you remember every so often they would put the book of it's either called the Book of Pain or the Book of Death that was inside the biggest bumper annual they'd do, and it would have pictures of like broken arms at the wrestling.
Oh yeah, they did. I remember this.
But I remember one. I'm going to get really really gross here. Of this guy who'd like prolapsed because he squatted. He put too much weight on his bar.
Oh God.
And yeah, his whole body
Yeah.
would come out of his
Lovely.
ass.
Oh my
So I went absolutely gross there, but
Yeah.
but like humans wanted to see that,
Yeah.
like a little bit.
Curiosity.
Well,
isn't it?
curiosity. isn't it?
It had a thing where you had to rip the book open to look at it.
Ah, right.
You
So it wasn't
couldn't-
like
it
straight
wasn't
in.
just you'd flipping through and it'd be randomly there. It was inside, like an insert into the book.
Classic marketing, that is. You definitely want to
You wanna
buy
go for it
that
then?
Oh.
if someone's saying, explicit content inside and you've got to open it.
Do
It's
you
like
dare?
good marketing, that is. 'Cause
Very good.
you just want to, curiosity gets the better of you and you want to
Yeah.
see that.
So after you watched The Exorcist, were you just like absolutely terrified then?
Yeah.
Sorry to go back to The
But I was
Exorcist again,
kind of obsessed with it though.
Yeah, I kind of was
It
as
left
well.
it left a. Whoa, like I don't know. I want to watch it again, but not right now. I'll watch it again later in life, and maybe I'll think about it again. So I did. I watched it in my late 20s, I think, and it hit the same. It brought up all the memories I had of watching it in the pitch black at Kel's house back in the day. But also, I watched it on DVD, so I could pause the demonic face.
Oh, that little snapshot.
Snippet.
Yeah.
Now that on its own, like the director to put that snap thing,
Yeah.
that's incredibly clever.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like splice it and you're like, what did I just see?
Because they had to splice the reel.
I know,
The actual
it's
reel
like-
that they filmed on.
How would you think to do that?
And it's
Like,
not even a
incredible.
second's worth, is it?
Apparently, I don't know whether I'm pretty sure that this is true. Probably gonna get like ripped apart, over, but I'm pretty sure that back in the day in the movies, they used to put one frame in the cinema, and it just used to say popcorn, and it was one
Whoa.
frame of the film.
naughty, innit?
And then it was like, what do you call it? Like subconsciously advertising. I don't know what the right word would be, but so it's just like this, like that, and you think, oh yeah, I can do some popcorn. Maybe you didn't really know. Maybe you've seen it because
Clever.
it's so quickly, and it reminds me a little bit of the scene in Fight Club when he has that, and he goes, a nice big cock. Slices it into like
Just some kid crying.
yeah.
But it's like, it also has that sound like,
And then everyone knew they
like
saw
looking
it.
around like that.
You can't say that you saw it. One little frame.
Well, no matter.
That is a great film. I had nothing to do with horror or
That's a
Halloween
great film.
necessarily, but that's a really good film.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm right with you with The Exorcist. It's a terrifying
Left
film
a mark.
for me. I really want to watch it again soon.
Honestly,
Yeah. I
I'd
mean,
definitely watch it again. I think I've
you weren't that affected then by the sound of it, were you?
No, well, yes and no, not as affected as you, but
I
I
just-
was frightened, and I did, enjoy the movie, and it was like,
it's got everything in it for me that.
but I'd happily watch it again though.
Yeah, it's got everything in it that a horror film impacts you with. It's got a really good story, like probably the first of its kind that came out around then. There's a girl possessed by a demon, and this guy is going to exorcise it out of her. Like that was so wild to me.
A lot of movies has done that since, haven't they?
Oh,
yeah,
loads.
of course.
Yeah.
But there's another The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah, I was going to watch that.
That's a good film. That is.
Yeah, I think I've only seen it
And
once
it's
when it came out.
It's quite shocking.
It's
that
creepy,
one.
that is. Because I watched that.
Yeah.
And then, the scene where I think her boyfriend or something stayed over the night, and he wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like on the floor and like her body's been twisted. I just had that moment of like dread in me again of like when I watched The Exorcist. I was like, I wish I'd never seen that.
A little bit reminiscent of it.
Yeah, it definitely was.
But I'm
Another
like,
good film though, and it did its job as a horror. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, yeah.
like personally, like through my upbringing, through my life, like I'm not obsessed with it, but the good and evil part of like the universe or whatever is really important to me. So knowing that an innocent girl, was like possessed by something so evil and demonic was so interesting to me. Like and it always is. Like I love the good versus evil fight sort of thing.
So I'd always heard The Exorcist was based on like a true event of something that happened like in that city or something close to that area, but it was actually happened to a little boy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether that's true or not.
You remember,
but
you remember Omen? Is it? Or
The Omen.
Damien.
Yeah.
Like that was a boy possessed, right?
yeah,
wasn't
that
that
was Damien's.
No,
six
Damien
or something,
wasn't. Oh God, my memories.
Yeah, the
I
Omen.
thought Damien
Omen,
was
yeah.
the demon.
Oh,
You know what? I can't remember, but I thought.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
Um,
Well, he was chosen to be the son of the devil. I
I don't know.
Poltergeist.
need to watch it again, basically.
Poltergeist. Yeah,
Remember
no,
those?
yeah, remember those.
I have never seen.
I think I've only
any
seen
of the
one
Poltergeist.
I remember isn't it like a TV scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like I always
like
think about
the
that
white
TV
noise and all that.
scene when I think about that. But just briefly going back to The Exorcist. Have you seen The Exorcist 3?
No.
The only reason why I mention it is
Yeah.
because Jeffrey Dahmer apparently used to watch The Exorcist 3 over and over again, and when he used to bring back those poor guys and used to drug them, he used to make them watch The Exorcist 3 like every time.
Oh man.
It's pretty horrible, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You'd know something's quite not right if you're watching that on your first date.
Don't really know if I want to watch it then.
No.
Oh, because it's linked. Like,
I know, and that's horrendous.
Yeah, that's pretty minging. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Shocking.
That's a really, really good one. The original movie, so the first one, like Leatherface, the original one, that is really, really good.
That's shocking. That is.
That's a really good movie. As
Horrible.
in, like, grainy, horrible,
Yeah,
raw.
Yeah. It looks like almost home video, so your
I
brain
think-
goes there.
I think that's the problem, you know.
Yeah,
it's
it's
almost
so
filmed like a
grainy.
home video.
It
And
is.
the
It
actress,
is, yeah.
the actress that gets pulled, like I think it's out of the car and then grabbed and taken into that shed. Honestly, that haunts me to this day. I got a real problem with seeing women
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
completely out muscled and stuff like that.
Totally
And
manhandled.
They've got no fight. They can't do anything
they-
about
they-
it. I hate seeing
Yeah.
that. And Hostel is another one.
Hostel.
I think it's Hostel 2, where there's that woman in the bath, and there's that woman who comes in, and she's just like scything her, and she's struggling, and she can't do anything. And I can't watch the Hostel films. I just can't do it.
That's a pretty crazy concept, isn't it? Hostel, because you can almost imagine the rich people of the world actually doing something
man.
I
like that.
love the I love the idea
Yeah.
behind
As
that.
horror,
clever.
it's incredible.
as a storyline. But I always remember, I can't remember if it was in Hostel 1. I think it's like this Asian lady, and she gets like, bless her, she gets like Bunsen burner on her eye, and then her eyes all like puffed up, and they like stab it or cut it out. It is absolutely minging.
It's
It's
just
absolutely
experimenting on
minging.
like unknowing people. It's,
Or chase them down, torturing them.
basically. Paying to torture people.
But that idea is really good. I remember watching a movie called, I think it was called The Eye or something, and it was rich people watching like a cabin, and then these rich people would bet on who was going to kill each other in the
word.
cabin, and then they
games.
started to notice that there was like really well hidden CCTV cameras in the place, and then it was all kind of scripted for them to try and kill each other a little bit. A little bit like Battle Royale, like that original idea of the movie Battle Royale.
I don't know if I've
Pitting
seen
people
that.
against people.
Oh, it's a really good movie.
And betting on it.
Is that Japanese or maybe South Korean? I can't remember, but Battle Royale is really good.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is Asian.
Yeah,
Asian
definitely.
film, yeah.
And then a lot of movies have taken that idea, like even stuff like what's that one where they go to that island and then they've all got to kill each other? The American movie, and they made a few like the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's like maybe loosely based on something like that, where they go
And the
they're fighting for their
that
freedom,
was one, wasn't it?
and the end goal is to be the last person standing, essentially, isn't it? You know?
So the Running Man.
Yes,
Yeah,
the Running Man.
fighting for your life,
Schwarzenegger.
isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
I
but
love that
and they were
film.
convicts, weren't they?
Yeah.
But they never. Oh no, some of them did, but they mainly
I
didn't
love
get
that
out.
film.
that's
Yeah.
a really good film.
Yeah, that's a good
I
film.
think that's my younger brother's favorite film, or one of them.
Really, yeah.
A classic
It is good.
80s
Arnie,
movie.
It's not making like that anymore, do they?
Total
They don't do it
Recall as
anymore,
well.
I don't think. It's just, don't know, it's just different now, because it's like heavily related to sort of CGI and heavily sort of, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Whether all the ideas have just been done or what, I don't know what
I think
it
they're
is.
normally quite cheesy. If you get a film that's in any way similar to those 80s movies, it'll be done by like John Cena 10 years ago, and he'll be going into like Afghanistan with like a massive gun, and it's just
Yeah.
it's not really the same.
It's not the same.
It doesn't really work, if you know what I mean.
No.
But I love those 80s movies.
Talking about, my brain's going haywire.
yeah, I'm
It's good.
I've gone off on a plane.
Got, because you started talking about foreign movies then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wreck.
I've written
Yes.
it down.
We got Wreck.
Yeah,
Wreck
that is
Nice.
a really good home
Spanish
video
Spanish film, yeah.
style one.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
terrifying.
Blair Witch was the first one that came on the scene,
course.
wasn't it?
I can't believe
With-
we forgot about that. Well,
with
I
Home-
did.
It's down. I've got it on the list, but yeah.
With
Yeah.
home footage sort of edited together to become a film. Blair Witch came out, but then I think Wreck was just like same sort of thing, but they did it so much better.
So
yeah,
good.
they did. It was later though, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
but it was. You're right though. That was like that had more impact on me than what's the other one called again?
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch. And then which one of you went to go and see Blair Witch with me in the woods?
Me.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
we both did.
Yeah, we all did,
Nantararian,
did we?
was it?
Yeah,
Nantararian, yeah.
Nantararian. And I was thinking, that is such a good idea to go
Yeah.
and watch a horror movie in this setting. But I remember when I was going, I think we watched it in a log cabin, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I always used to think, like, imagine going to watch the Blair Witch in the woods in a tent, and your back is to an open tent, right? And then
man.
the TV is in the back of the tent, so you've got like the whole of the woods behind you, but you're just laser focused on watching the Blair Witch.
And there's people
I
probably
feel
employed to just
really-
crunch around outside.
Oh.
Uncomfortable now.
But I
That's
really
horrible.
like
the
that.
idea of watching the movie, like when people, I've seen a picture of it where people are watching Jaws and they're in dinghies,
That's cool.
dinghies, and somehow they're, I don't know, they're putting it on like a big screen in the sea or in the marina or something.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, it's a cool idea
It's
to
really
watch a
clever.
film in the setting.
Can we go back to Blair Witch real quickly? As in,
Absolutely, please do.
Just because that also scared the hell out of me, because the whole aura around it was that it was real.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
thing. When it
Yeah.
first
They-
came out, people swore that it was it's
real.
real footage.
Yeah.
Clever.
They've edited together to put into a film. And I was
Really
like,
clever. And when they were
Is it?
advertising
It was
it,
obviously never real footage, but I know what you mean. Is in particularly when you're young, and you think, "Oh, cool, this is a really cool film out,"
Yeah.
and it's real, and you're like,
But you know, when they were sort of advertising it, and they were going to all these like film festivals with it, they were putting like missing posters up of these kids that were in that film.
mate,
So clever.
That's quite a
So
good
good.
idea.
Really
Yeah, I
clever.
didn't know that. That's quite a good idea. Actually.
But no, again, spoilers. That last scene of that.
In the corner of
So-
the room,
So
and the teeth and the bones and such.
Just
yeah?
no, just him. She's screaming at him.
I've got two minds about the end of that film because I was absolutely fuming that we didn't see the witch. Like I was fucking
I think
livid
it's
about
clever
it.
though, because
it's clever.
they could have shown you the witch and go, oh,
Yeah, if they didn't get the
That's a
witch
bit shit.
right, that's in my
your
head.
mind, you're
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
It's worse in your imagery of it is probably worse than what they can show
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
they're relying on your brain, which is quite.
it was like a letdown for me in Jeepers Creepers.
I
Well, do you remember watching that?
You know,
It's
I
a real
think
shit
I've
horror
seen
film,
that,
but it was a bit
but I
scary for a little
cannot-
bit
I cannot remember it at
until you
all.
saw the guide and you were like, oh,
Oh, okay.
it's not that scary anymore, kind of thing, you know?
that's not
It was
that
one of
bad.
those, yeah. But Blair Witch, that end scene, it goes real quiet, and then
It's horrible.
Oh,
Another
Great,
one
yeah,
that kind of
great
ruined
film.
it
It's a
though.
good film, that
Do you
is.
remember like?
Yeah, I like it.
What's it called? Scary Movie, and she's got like a really bad bogey hanging down from her nose. I also think about that. There's like a flashlight right on her face. She's got like a massive bogey.
Scary
Then-
movie.
yeah, Scary Movie's
I
got a
know,
lot to
kill
like.
those.
Yeah, it kind of kills it then, doesn't it? Like if I watch that now, I'd probably just think of the Scary
It's like
Movie.
just like falling on the camera so
And
hard.
they really take the piss out. They just like running around the woods like really stupid and stuff. And I don't know if I find it scary at all now
No, I
after
know.
watching that. But you're right, like talking about genres, that kind of was its own genre, wasn't it? A homemade movie, like point of view, I suppose you'd call it, isn't it? Like like someone's filming it.
So we're talking about watching horror films recently. I watched a horror film from Taiwan recently called The Incantation, which is filmed like home video sort of style.
Yeah.
Halfway through, I was thinking, what am I watching? Because the story's quite out there. Okay. But then once you forget that, once you just make peace with the fact that, this is never going to be real, it gets quite, it got quite horrific. Excuse me. It's a story about like this incantation that was put on this family from years and years ago, and it's now affecting like generations down the line. And watch that film, and it all ends up with this horrific statue in this tunnel. It's really scary towards the end. It's really good.
Like psychologically scary, jumpy, or what would you say?
Psychological and jumpy towards the end.
Nice.
And you're all the time thinking, any moment there's going to be a nice happy ending.
No, there's not.
Yeah, spoiler alert. No,
there's not.
And on that Taiwan sort of theme, I watched at last year's Abattoir Festival, which is a local festival going on in the Arts Centre.
When is that, by the way?
It's It's in November. I think it starts on the 13th of November. Unlucky for some. There was a film called The Sadness, which was a Taiwan film as well.
I think I remember you.
Absolutely horrific.
Gory,
Good
scary.
though.
Gory, scary, but also there's like, basically, I think the sadness is this thing that infects people and their inhibitions completely go.
Okay.
So there's this horrific, like, what's the word? Threat of rape in the entire film as well, which I absolutely hate.
That's gross.
Yeah, absolutely hate. But it's like, I'll tell you the first thing you see when the sadness hits this person, right, is this person walks into a chip shop and straight away grabs the fryer and pours it on this guy's head. And his head, like his brain boils inside his head, and you see his eyes come out. I was like, okay, strap in.
Okay, straight into it. Yeah, this one's not messing
But then
about.
it just gets like, oh god, that's horrible, and you feel really uncomfortable for it. But what an impact that film had! It was horrible. Me and my partner talk about it a lot. The Sadness.
Interesting.
Old school horror movies. Just going to go back to one more because don't know whether you've seen it. I think it's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
When they go to like I think it's somewhere like Antarctica, and they're meant to be doing like experiments and like stuff like that. That is really good. That is so good. And they don't use any CGI. It's like they had to make like puppets back then, didn't they? And it's like this gross, well, it's called The Thing, isn't it? And you know what? I've seen it so long ago, I can't remember everything about it, but I remember it being really good.
Isn't it like the mist Russell that comes through? Is that the one? Am I thinking that's the right one?
No,
the mist is Stephen King.
I think that it goes into people, I think, on The Thing, but it is this like supernatural.
They're digging in the Arctic for oil, I think, and they dig down and they find something, and it comes out and
starts wreaking havoc on these people,
it's a remake.
On these scientists.
That's a remake. The Kurt Russell film is
maybe at the time I made it, but off the top of my head I'm thinking no.
So it was a remake in like the 80s. So
it's a remake in the 80s of a 60s film.
Wow.
But that is a good old school.
Yeah. It's so gory, that film. Do you remember the CPR scene with the defibrillator? Oh man, that's horrible. That is.
But yeah, watch that.
Watch The Thing.
That is pretty good. Going back, I'm just thinking of like the genres, but yeah, we can sort of move up to the more
once again,
modern day
no
ones.
CGI.
This is it.
Things are done, real graphic and really believable. Like it looked horrible.
I think CGI. You know when CGI originally came in? Like I remember I think it was a podcast and someone was talking about this, right? And I remember watching, not horror or anything, but I remember watching Avatar, right, when it first came out. And if you look at when Avatar came out, probably a little while ago now. Like I'm not saying it's mega old, but like definitely 10 years plus, right?
I think it's in the last decade.
But I remember when that came out, I remember thinking, that is groundbreaking, like CGI. And
you can't tell. Like,
and then I saw it like recently, and I was like, shit, like CGI has definitely got better.
Oh my god, yeah! Like I watched the first Toy Story not that long ago, and I was like, oh my god, it's come on hell of a long way since that.
The Pixar sort of stuff. But then, I remember at the time though, Avatar was pretty special. Whereas now, technology's moved on a little bit now, isn't it?
Think about bits of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
There's loads of CGI in Jurassic Park.
What, the original Jurassic Park? The original
I thought they were real dinosaurs.
I fucking did.
Could be. From that little amber.
I couldn't sleep. I mean, that I wouldn't class that film as a horror film at all. But I could not sleep.
Mate, that Tyrannosaurus Rex scene's pretty scary.
Oh, it's
And
so
the
scary.
Velociraptor one. The one,
the one
in the kitchen.
Yes.
That's like the dark
The two
kitchen
kids
scene.
are like hiding in the kitchen.
Oh, it's
That's the one.
incredible.
But you know when they
Really
had
good
to
film.
make like a puppet, or they had to make, like, you know, Jaws is a good example. There's loads of other movies and stuff that kind of was better, wasn't it, than when they had to bring that, particularly the early rubbish CGI. It just looks really bad now.
Well,
Whereas
Jaws
at least,
3.
At least the puppets kind of like half hold up, don't they? Like, I understand, like, maybe at all times in Jaws, sometimes you can tell, but it is better having a, you know,
The time and effort that's gone into it looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got, talking about puppets. One of my childhood films. It's a PG, this thing, right? And it scared the shit out of me as a
I know what
kid.
he's going to
Yeah.
say.
And I
I
don't even watch it now. I
do know what you're saying.
You know, Dark Crystal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gross.
Jim Henson.
Skeksis?
Skeksis. It's a
They're
PG.
gross. That shouldn't be a PG.
Should have been 18. should have been banned.
Banned in about 24 countries.
It's just those things. the
Psychological
Skeksis, they're just like
effect
these
on,
big like
on a kid.
birds, eagle type things, and they just, it just scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like I used to get nightmares because of those things.
I think that's
really
because
bad.
you probably watched it pretty young as well, because it's like a PG.
Yeah.
You're thinking, oh, that's fine. I mean, like, even some parts of, like, Labyrinth.
Oh,
The birds in Labyrinth.
There's some pretty
I hate 'em.
horrible,
When they
weird
pull out their eyes and
stuff
stuff.
in Labyrinth that is a really good film, actually. I love
When
that.
the baby
love it.
disappears and like those things are in the wall.
And then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
That's quite a scary scene, that is, for
with
a
the
child,
lightning
isn't
and
it?
then the owl comes in.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's probably a PG, you know, as well. And
I,
there
reckon-
is
I
some...
think it's a U.
Oh, it's
What-
mental.
that should be at least 12.
I think it's, I think it's
12
a U.
would be
I think
pretty
it's a
good.
universal. Anybody can watch it.
Wow.
But yeah, you're right. Those old school, like, 80s kids films, sometimes they're creepy.
Definitely.
Let's go into
Particularly
that
that
then.
one,
Let's
yeah.
go into like stuff that you watched when you were a kid that probably should have been a bit more of a higher up certificate.
Oh, 100% Dark Crystal for me.
Higher up
Dark
certificate.
Crystal,
That's a good question.
Can't think of anything now.
No, I know what you mean though. Say you watch something that maybe was a 12 and you're thinking, I tell you one thing I do remember, but like, it's not a great story, but I just remember going to it because I was too young to go and see it. And like, a lot of people might remember this. I remember my first 15 movie because when you're young and then you're sort of going into cinema, I think Dave went to see this film as well, and it was called The Craft. Right, and The Craft
The Witch is
was the
what
Witch
from.
movie,
Yeah.
and it was a 15, and I'm pretty sure we could work it out by looking at when The Craft came out, but I reckon I was about 14, maybe 13, 14, too young to see it, basically. I remember like, oh yeah, no, I'm 15, isn't it? And stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm 15.
And that wasn't actually a particularly scary movie. It was quite a good movie, actually, The Craft, but I remember going in, that was like the first, I've seen 15s before, but that was the first 15 in the cinema. Yeah, in the cinema.
I just remember the
Maybe,
advert
yeah.
for that because it had the Smiths tune in it, didn't it?
I love the Smiths.
That is a great song
What's the-
as well.
what's the tune?
The song.
I don't know. I don't remember the Smiths song actually in that movie, but I remember the movie though.
I
Yeah.
definitely need to watch that film again.
Yeah.
I think my
Just
partner's
Morrissey,
watched it
isn't it?
recently.
Morrissey's in the Smiths.
In the Smiths, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's one of maybe 3 songs I really like from Morrissey
Nice.
on the Smiths.
Okay.
But you know it straight away. I don't know
Yeah,
the name
I'm
of it,
sure.
but it's a hell of a song.
Yeah.
I love the Witches theme. Witches are like a special. I really love the world of witches and witchcraft. I love
Oh,
it.
right,
It's-
okay, yeah.
Even voodoo and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think it's really cool.
Yeah. But no, I remember the
Like
Craft.
voodoo
That's
dolls
really
and things.
Yeah, it's so out there, man. It's
Imagine
like,
if that's real. Imagine that could
I know.
actually happen. You could get like
I
a
know.
curse
good.
on
Like
someone
black,
and put like
black magic and
yeah,
stuff.
like different cultures like believe in it so strongly. you
Oh,
know? It's-
definitely.
It's an incredible thing, and to put it into films, like I love it.
I'm sure there's places in Africa where they think albinos have got special powers.
They
and
hack their
them.
limbs off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, I think what they do it for. I think this is right. I think they hack their limbs off and they do really crazy stuff like grind their bones down and stuff, and then like use the powder, isn't it? Thinking like
if that's true,
you
they are
can
behind
like
they're behind on
ingest
science.
that, you know, in like a potion or something. I mean, like it's
That is mental.
yeah, I know that's pretty nuts. But what some people believe in and what people
Yeah.
think, that might be a totally different podcast. But
Yeah.
what
What,
people strongly believe in, and yeah, pretty.
What
pretty nuts.
certificate was it?
I imagine an 18. No?
Do you know what? I think you're right. I think,
I think it was a 15.
I
the,
think
the one with Tim Curry in it.
Yeah.
That's
because I guess
crazy.
the way they're rating it, I mean, there's no real gore or anything like that. It's all in your head a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like psychological for the first quarter. Then it gets a little bit more like, because their fears all come out and stuff, and there's the blood in the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
I still think that should be an 18 though. It's like
we might be wrong, but
pretty creepy. Oh no, it could be a 15. I just mean
it was definitely a
should be
film
an 18, you know?
of my youth where it affected me very, very strongly. I cannot stand clowns, and it's probably down to that film.
I've never really had an issue with clowns, but I remember that guy in It where he got his stutter back because it took him back to his childhood when he had a stutter. It's just little bits like that, really clever, aren't they? They sort of like take it brain back to those moments.
There was like a pom pom would appear on his belly, and it's like, oh my god, he's coming back! Like, oh. And just the music, like when the blood started coming out of the sink, it's like, it's horrific.
Yeah,
really good film,
real creepy.
I got
Tim Curry.
Pretty bad memory of that film, actually, thinking about it. Like, and you said it's really long as well, so there's probably like loads of different scenes. But I do remember what he looked like as Pennywise, Tim Curry. But I remember the boat scene that everybody remembers, like the little paper boat, and it goes down by
Georgie.
the curb. And he's got Georgie come down. Like I remember like the main bits of it, but if I watched it again, I'd be like, oh god, no way. Like, have
you seen the new? Have you seen the remake?
You know what? I haven't seen.
I'm not interested in
any
watching them, you know, because I think the CGI.
I gave him a go.
Yeah,
there's a lot of CGI in it, but the actor that plays Pennywise is incredible, and he can do this thing with his eyes. His eyes are real in that film. He can make them like look the other way.
Wow!
And he puts it to great effect.
There's a few of them, isn't there? There's at least two of the new ones, and there's another one apparently.
I've got a great little nugget of film
knowledge
here. Yeah,
good
film
one.
knowledge.
Yeah.
So the first time the children, the actors in that film, met the actor that played Pennywise was when he was in full clown outfit, coming out of like a door, screaming at them.
Lovely. Did they keep that scene?
Yep.
Awesome. I love stuff like that.
That is good. And also, back in the day,
they are not happy.
Oh, yeah, but they're terrified.
You imagine trying to do that now? He literally gets sued, and the film won't be made.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So like weirdly, it's like it's quite good in some ways, but yeah, nowadays you couldn't do that with red tape.
Every time they were on set, they were like walked past. They had to take a wide berth around his like caravan where he was in his trailer, and they were like, "It's in there," and they were like, "What does he look like?" Well, we're not telling you yet, sort of thing. Oh man, imagine that.
Right, most messed up film that you've ever
I Spit
seen.
on Your Grave.
Oh, it's got to be the Aussie ones. Those ones back in the day. Like
Oh,
I Spit on Your-
Brain Dead.
just absolute carnage in those films.
I'm gonna go a Serbian film because I remember someone told me to watch that film, and that film is fucked up. that film is like, I mean, I don't even know how much
different levels of censorship.
I just don't even know how much I'd be able to talk about that film on this point. But if anyone's listening and they've seen a Serbian film, you'll know exactly what I'm on about.
I don't think I've ever seen
And
that. I think I may be talking about it.
So messed up. He's like the loose storyline is I think he's like sort of like an adult actor, like a porn actor, I think. And then they're asking him to do like one last job, and they're going to pay him like a lot of money for this job.
Oh,
but they don't really tell him anything about what he has to do, and then he has to just do some horrific stuff in this movie that they're making, and it's called a Serbian film, and it is gross.
Oh man,
It is gross.
Yeah, I'm scared of that. I don't want to watch it.
I think that was banned in some countries. It's pretty gross.
I'm surprised I haven't brought up Seven. Would you class that as a horror?
I would say more so thriller, and it is one of my favourite films. Still is, as you know, our first podcast. I think that was, wasn't it?
I mean, what he does is horrific.
Yeah, he's a serial killer, isn't he?
Also,
yeah.
Yeah, I would class it as a thriller.
Yeah, you could say thriller, horror, but I would still say more thriller because it has like, I don't know, like the crime aspect, and he's a serial killer.
The ending's horrific though.
Oh my god,
great ending. I'm not saying it's great. But I just
imagine that. I actually we shouldn't spoil the ending of Seven. Watch it.
Just watch it if you haven't seen
I
it.
guess
Such
there
a good
could be
film.
people out there who haven't seen Seven, but
Have you ever seen Fire in the Sky? It's about the UFO abduction with a guy called Travis Walton who gets abducted.
Don't know.
I know it's a hell of a curveball here, but that scared the hell out of me. I think that may have been, pretty sure it was a 15.
Right.
But I think I watched that when I was like 12, and that scared the shit out of me.
Oh, okay.
Really scary. It's basically about a team of loggers in America in the middle of nowhere, and they were on their way back after like a really long day, and it was like pitch black and everything. They just saw this big light in the sky. Went to investigate it. Turned out to be a UFO. Bear with me on this one, everybody. Travis Walton, this guy, gets out of the car, goes to investigate it, and this like beam of light comes down, sends him like 100 meters down the field, and then the guys like absolutely freak out in the truck.
Yeah.
They burn off.
Yeah.
Weirdly. Yeah, so there's loads of... It's a true story, by the way.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, so bear with me on that one for a sec as well.
I love a true story.
Yeah. So they disappear. Travis Walton then disappears. Right? They went back to go and look for him.
He just wasn't there.
He was gone. So then they're framed with his... They're arrested on like his disappearance or that sort of thing. But anyway, he shows up 5 days later.
Oh.
And his story is that he'd been abducted by aliens and they did loads of tests on him and he gets loads of flashbacks of what happened to him in his spaceship. The way I'm talking about it now, obviously it just sounds really far-fetched, but Google Travis Walton, Google that story, and they have done loads of lie detector tests. I fully believe it.
What's the film?
Oh, what? And
Fire
he's
in the
never,
Sky.
And he's never like failed one of those tests.
No.
That is interesting.
I wanna watch
Is he
that.
alive now?
Yeah. He's been on other podcasts talking about his experiences.
Wow.
And he does loads of talks about his experiences. And I fully believe it. But if that's true, what the hell?
Well, E.T.
Well, yeah.
I quite like it.
out there.
I'm not. Yeah, it's sort of like a conspiracy theory thing, isn't it? In a way, and a lot of people won't believe him. Some people will believe him, but I quite do. I like enjoy some of the.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm fully
conspiracy
into it.
theorists.
That
about,
video
like,
you sent us the other day about that like pilot filming that. What was it you that sent it?
Yeah, I sent it over.
I love that. I love that stuff.
It's watching like some Joe Rogan podcast, and he's got like some guy in it. Like one of the ones he was talking about recently is apparently there was a guy who came up with the original idea of essentially to run a car on water. Apparently he did it, and then he got killed. So he apparently made this car that could run on water. And then, like a couple of years later, you can Google. I can't remember what his name
money
is,
ramifications.
but you can Google the guy's name. I can't remember. But the
That's
guy
a big
who
conspiracy
came up
theory,
with
that is.
a car that can run off water, and then he got killed.
That would turn some economies upside down, wouldn't it? That's the problem.
This is a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
but
is the
I'm
problem.
not saying whether I believe it or not. But I just love hearing a story like that makes you think like, no way.
It's got to be a
Yeah.
steam,
You know,
steam,
no way.
steam engine, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
fully tanked with water, and then some of the steam that's enough.
Yeah, you know, I don't know whether it was like in terms of hydrogen or the water. I'm not pretending to understand any of this science, all right? But apparently you put water in the car. Imagine how amazing that would be.
Pretty good.
And then talking
Right now,
about
it'd be really good.
conspiracy theorists and stuff, I quite like watching stuff on the pyramids, you know? You know when people talk about the pyramids and then they try and explain like how well the sandstone has been carved, or maybe they use the drilling tool and then they're like, how have they got a drilling tool 2,000?
And how did they get
however
all
many-
those stones from there to there?
Yeah, exactly.
How do they do that?
How big they are, how precise the pyramid is, how level
Yeah.
it is. Fascinated by all
it
those
is.
stories.
It's
Right.
unbelievable.
Fascinated.
I'm screaming now, so someone let us know if you can. I want to know a really good like Egyptian pharaoh-esque horror film because I haven't seen one.
The Mummy. I'm joking.
Brendan
What's the Mummy?
Fraser.
Yeah.
I mean I don't think I've ever seen one, and I don't know of one.
There's
No.
loads of, like this, again, conspiracies about when they found those tombs, isn't there? Loads of stuff actually happened to the people who actually were the first people to go into those tombs.
Like
Into
curses
the
and
crypt.
stuff.
Well,
or-
yeah.
or
I mean,
booby
they
traps.
sort of, well, who knows? I might be completely...
A little bit Indiana Jones-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. I love
those
Indiana
yeah.
Jones
films are
movies.
flawless. And I tell you what, talking about being scarred as a kid, right?
Right.
Watching Indiana Jones, the last one was called Last Crusade.
Oh,
Do
when
you remember
that-
when
with the
he
Nazis.
like goes old and dies?
Yeah,
Really quickly?
when he drinks out the wrong
That
cup.
scared the fucking
Yeah.
shit out
Yes.
of me. that did.
Oh, you mean when they're looking for the chalice?
Yeah, the Holy Grail.
And then they're talking about Jesus was a carpenter, and then it was the wooden chalice,
Yeah.
not the really nice golden chalice that they picked.
Yeah.
That was the Nazi one as well,
he
right?
drinks,
Yes.
when he drinks it, and then he goes old like in about 4 seconds.
Oh, really?
Was that
quick.
one of
Guys.
them when he just turns into a skull and his face
That's it.
melts? Yeah,
That's it.
that thing. Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
in
not
his
CGI.
Nazi uniform.
That's not CGI. They used like a plasticine head and they animated it.
You know what it looks like?
Absolutely horrific.
It looks
Oh,
like his
so good.
face is made of wax in that, and it's just like melting wax.
Oh,
Love those
that used
movies.
to really do my head in. That did. Oh,
The-
horrific.
The first scene of Ghostbusters.
Which
You know when
one?
they're down the library with that woman?
I don't
the
remember
ghost.
that.
Is that one with Slimer in the beginning?
No. Hang on. Is that Slime in the beginning? No, I don't think it is. But no, there's an old... They go down because there's been like a report of something
Of a
going on in the
paranormal-
library,
yeah.
like the basement or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they go down and you walk around the corner. It's really funny thinking about it. But there's this old lady, like, ghost down there. Tells her to be quiet.
Yeah.
But then she just, like, jumps and, like, turns out this skeleton, like, ghoul thing. It's really jumpy. So as a kid, it was like, I hit the ceiling. But then everything after that is hilarious. From Zool.
The part of Ghostbusters that really scared me when I was a kid was down in the train where there's all those heads. There's, like, heads on poles.
Oh, Winston's down there,
yeah,
isn't he?
and they're all like screaming and stuff. I can't handle like eyes, eyes in films. If you want to scare me, have a pitch black room and just a pair of eyes in it.
And
I'm done.
Like Vigo the Carpathian.
Vigo the Carpathian.
Is that Ghostbusters 2?
Yes, I think so.
Is that the one with the Marshmallow Man?
The first one's Zool, isn't it?
Yeah, Zool.
Yes.
And then you know the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Is that?
Stay Puft.
Is that?
Keeps apologising. He couldn't help thinking about it.
Is it 2?
You know that? I saw something recently. I saw an amazing picture of that, right? And it was a set, honestly, right? Saying that. You'd get the set in this whole room, right? And it was like miniature cars, and then the Marshmallow Man was about that big. And it was back in the day when they had to make these sets of like little character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Star Wars was the same, wasn't it?
Miniatures.
Like
They'd film it
miniature.
into
And Lord of the Rings. The Peter Jackson original ones.
Really?
There's loads of miniatures in that.
Honestly?
Yeah, Minas Tirith, Barad-dûr, they're all miniatures.
Yeah, but I remember seeing a really cool
used
picture.
camera to like pan round it, and then they added the effects at the background.
So like the big fight scenes.
Yeah.
I think maybe Back to the Future had something like that as well.
Big
You know when
fight scenes were mostly people for the first like 8 rows.
My God.
Yeah.
Crazy.
New Zealand people are amazing. They just wanted to be part of it.
I bet they did.
Interesting little fact. Most of the people you see on horses in the films are all women in beards.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a weird
That's
fact.
cool.
Yeah.
That is a weird fact.
Okay, let's go back to horrors.
Go back to horrors.
Yeah.
Lost Boys. I'm wearing the t-shirt.
Boom.
I've been
Vampire film.
Yeah,
of
would
course.
you-
We didn't
yeah,
really
vampires.
discuss vampire
Blade.
films.
Even though
Blade.
that is it's sort of a horror. In my mind, it almost doesn't feel like horror. I love The Lost Boys.
Hell of a film.
It's such a good movie, but it just kind of feels like a quintessential 80s style movie. But I guess it is sort of a horror,
I think
isn't
it
it?
is my favourite horror film. I think it is. Not one I'm most scared of, because it doesn't scare me at all, really. I find it quite comical, but it's got such good lines, really good actors. There's enough gore in it that I'm like, yes, that's perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I love that each vampire dies differently. I love the 2 brothers, Edgar and whatever they're called.
Yes.
Like, and Nanook, the dog.
The dog,
And Jason Pash was amazing in it. And Star.
And how
Like,
cool you think
yeah,
it
film.
is.
Like
Like when you're
that
young.
twist at the end, and you're like, that's
Oh,
a hell of a good film.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
And what's the last line? There's one thing I couldn't stomach about Santa Carla. Oh, look at damn vampires.
Oh, yeah,
What
it's
a
Grandpa,
legend.
wasn't it?
That film's amazing.
Grandpa.
No, that is it kind of reminds me as well of Dusk Till Dawn. You think about that is it's like 2 movies, isn't it? The first half of that movie you would never call a horror film.
Nope.
But then the second portion of that film
It's
it
absolute gore fest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so you
it really
kind of
is.
call that a horror movie.
Quentin is a very clever dude.
Oh, I love his films. Love his films.
Very clever director there.
You know what? Slightly less the newer ones, I must admit. Like the last 2, maybe.
The last one I
haven't
liked
really
was
felt.
Hateful Eight, I think. That was the last of his films that I liked.
I found that good, but even that, I didn't find it like
It wasn't
amazing.
riveting, but
yeah.
no. But like, I love that it's filmed in that one room.
Yeah.
And like, I can get on board with a film like that. I think that's quite.
And they're in that
special,
carriage on the way there, and then it's pretty much
With his
one
films,
location.
though, it's the dialogue and the script
Definitely
in
the
those films.
dialogue.
It's so clever.
Does he write them then? Does he like the script writer? But how does he?
I think he does, but I wouldn't know. But
Okay.
like the older films, I think he did. I think he wrote them, and I think he
Amazing.
did
Like
most
Reservoir
of it.
Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, but I don't know for all of them. Like maybe he did have screenwriters and things like that. I'm not too sure about it. But yeah, the dialogue's amazing in most of his films.
Is it Section 9 or Session 9?
Session 9. That is a
I'm
good
going to let you
choice,
roll
know.
with this one because you're the
Oh,
one
I
who
haven't
brought this
seen
one
that.
back
Yeah.
from travelling, I think, on like
That's what it was. I
a
went
fake
to,
DVD or whatever it was.
Yeah, I was in Bali, and they had quite a few of these shops in Bali where you could literally buy like definitely like a fake DVD for probably like £1. And I bought loads of them.
Yeah.
And one of them was Session 9. I'd never heard of it before. And that that was quite creepy, actually. If I think about that, I was 21 when I went traveling, so I wasn't like young or anything. And then I watched that film. I remember saying to Dave, we've got to watch this film together.
Nice.
And if you think about like kind of what happens in that film, they have to do some work, I think.
There's asbestos removal company, aren't they?
Yeah, in like a derelict. It used to be like where they used to keep like mental health patients who like totally lost it.
Psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, and then they're working in there, and obviously like some really weird, creepy stuff happens in there. But if I think about it, that movie hasn't got a lot of gore in it or anything. That is all in your head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get all
that
of that
film.
That's
It's all
good
psychological in your head, and I was genuinely scared watching that film.
Is it
I recommend
Indonesian
that
cinema
film.
or is it?
No. I think it's actually an American movie.
Whoa.
There's a Scottish guy in it. You'd recognise him straight away.
Yeah,
From
but
Carlisle, is it?
It's an unknown movie. As in, like, I haven't heard that many people talking about it, or like, but good.
I
horror
remember
film.
you talked about it only from back in the day, just now.
Yeah, but
I've never thought about the
Mate,
film ever.
Watch it. Session 9,
Yeah.
and that scared me. That genuinely gave me the creeps of that of the building that they're working in, and like how it messes with their mind when they're there, and it's horrible. It's really,
Because
really
there's a
horrible.
scene in that, you reminded me when you were talking about if you were watching the Blair Witch in a tent and your back was to the woods. There's
Yeah.
a scene really similar to that.
Yeah.
Because he's working again. Don't want to ruin the scene or anything, but he's like working in this corner, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's got this massive open space behind him. The camera just slowly just creeps in.
Oh,
And you're just sitting there waiting for something to like.
And I think I could be wrong. He might have like ear defenders on as well.
Yes.
So
So he can't hear
so
anything
he's
either.
if there was something there, it's giving me like a little bit of goosebumps thinking about the
Nice.
film. Actually, that's a really good sort of psychological horror.
Do you know I
suppose.
talking about that exact scenario? Like I hate this in work, right? So I have to so one of my team is hoovering an area, right?
Yeah.
They got their back to me. How do you get their attention by not fucking scaring
Oh,
them?
right. If they're hoovering,
Impossible.
And you're in
If
big
they
open
hoovering.
spaces where you work as well, aren't you?
I'm like,
yeah, you're right.
excuse me. Touch them. Anything I do, they just
You know what I'd probably do? I'd probably just turn the Hoover off. I'd probably just go,
Do you know what?
boo.
I never thought about that.
And then- I think I'd just do that.
I never thought about that.
Yeah,
and then
that's a
they'd
good
be like-
idea. Just take the plug out.
And then they'd be like, "What the hell?" This
then
is
just
the
run away.
same. This is the same sort of thing, right? Like because we're talking about horror and being scared and things. Has there been a moment in your life, maybe when you were a kid or even older, where you have genuinely been petrified
Like
about
frozen.
something? Yeah, and it could even be something maybe you couldn't explain. Like maybe you saw something that might have been a UFO, or you've been maybe a ghost.
I'm glad. Yeah, this
Or
is one
something?
of my bullet points. Was anything that's ever happened to you?
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Has there been any? I'm sure there has. I've had brief conversations with you guys.
I've
go on.
got three. I got one about a UFO that involves you and Kel, when we were camping down by the river.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in the night, I swear down to this day that we saw two stars go like this together and then
I remember you talking about
Yeah,
that.
fly
fall
away
off.
from
remember
each
you talking
other.
about it.
Yeah.
There's a really strange thing with the 50p, and I imagine someone was looking out for me that day. I was skating home past the garage in Llanbadarn, and a 50p rolled past me at the front of my skateboard, and I instinctively just followed it down to the garage, side of the curb, and a massive Mansell Davis lorry just came up on the curb, and I would have probably hit it.
Crazy. I don't
Wow.
remember that. I'm sure
And
you
I
told
didn't
me
think
before, but
I didn't think anything of it until I got home, and I was like, "Oh, I was bloody close." Like, yeah. And then the
So where
third
did that 50p
one,
come from?
I don't know.
Oh my
It might have come out of a
God.
car. A car might have run over it.
That's
I
really
have
weird.
no idea.
Yeah, it's really weird. That's really weird.
I got the 50p, kept it, probably spent it now. Then the third one is I won't mention any names because well, no point. But back in the day, I remember being shown a photograph of like a family, and there was a lady in the picture that was supposedly dead at the time.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I hate stuff like
And
that.
the
That really
family
freaks
that
me
showed
out.
me this picture are not liars. They were quite religious people.
Hang on. Say that again. A photo that you saw.
Yeah, of a family, like a family portrait, a family picture
Right.
outside a house, and the lady there's like a nan or something that's in the picture, and she was dead at the time.
Well, so she's actually standing there. Yeah, that's
She's
I
in-
did get
she's
that
in the
right,
picture.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So when they got the photo developed,
They were
maybe,
like-
if it was an old school picture, they were like, "What the hell is like
Yeah,
Nana whatever?"
what's she doing there? Yeah,
That is
and
creepy.
when they showed me the picture, I was just like, wait, like whatever, and they were like, no, seriously. It's like, oh. So
That's horrible.
That's three.
I was, when
Three things.
we were living in Guginan at the time,
Oh yeah.
there was stuff going on in that house. I'm sure there was. Definitely.
Old houses.
The worst thing that happened was I was in the kitchen with my back to just sort of standing there. The cooker and stuff was behind me. He wasn't on. And my son was sitting on the table in one of those little bumbos. Remember those bumbos you put the babies in? They're basically a little seat that they sit in on the table.
Like a little foam
jumper
seat.
Yeah, they're just really comfortable, keep them upright. And he was just sitting on the table. So I was this side of the kitchen. The sink was where, say, Duke's is. The hot tap came on. Oh. It just came on.
Oh,
And I was I looked at my son. He was 9 months. And I was just there on my own in the kitchen. And I was like, what the hell?
Oh, man.
I just walked over and just switched it off. There's no way pressure or anything like that. I know a plumber's probably going to go, oh yeah, that's probably this. But it it can't have been.
So what, mate?
Bloody back pressure, mate.
Oh,
it was just
that
freaky. It was really freaky. And my
Oh.
brother's old house in Cardiff, I wish he was here now, because if he's listening to this, he'll get the heebie-jeebies talking about it. But he had a couple of things happen in that house. One, he was downstairs and he could hear something. He was like, what the hell is that? And he sort of opened the door and the tap up in the bathroom was a full blast. Full blast. It was like spraying in the bathroom.
Weird.
So, if let's say you go into the toilet, you wash your hands, turn the tap off, even if you leave it on a little bit, you're going to hear it walking out the door. You are certainly going to hear this tap
Full
on,
blast one.
full,
And also
ball
it
coming out of the sink.
ricochets and then splashes everywhere,
Yeah.
doesn't it, sort of thing?
Another thing, he was in the living room again and heard a crash, and he went into the kitchen, and the books on the bookshelf had come off the shelf, right? Not the shelf, so not the screws hadn't come out the wall or anything, but it's as if someone put their arms behind the books and bosh onto the kitchen worktop.
That's gross. I love it.
I do love it. I must admit, I haven't had, certainly not on that level. The UFO one, I remember that one. I also saw when I was camping in a neighbour's garden when I was pretty young, probably about 10. And from the wine, you can see the houses in Pemparky.
Yeah.
Quite clearly. And it was really, really weird, right? There was 3 of us there. And the house lights spelled out words.
What?
So, honestly, this is weird, right? Okay, so we were camping. We were so, when you camp in someone's back garden, you're quite young then, aren't you? Because you're not old enough to go camping else. So my next door neighbours at the time, the Finches it was, and there was 3 of us camping, and we were there, and then we were going, it's really, really weird, right? And we were looking over that, and it literally said, "You are magic." Right, spell out in the houses in Pemparky,
that's crazy.
and we all saw
Paul
it.
Daniels in town.
He was. Funny enough, he was saying "Hail, turn over on."
Did you go crawling and eating the things you find on the floor? Did you?
No, but no, it was just really, really weird. And when
really
you're younger,
weird.
you sort of get a little bit freaked out. Like looking back now, it probably was just a really weird coincidence, and like the shape of the houses and who had their top lights on and their bottom lights on, and I don't know, it just spelled it out. But it's just really, really weird.
That is really
That's
weird.
cool.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So that one was really, really weird. And then I've actually mentioned this on a previous podcast on the traveling one. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. And it was this guy who believed he was Jesus Christ, and he took us out in a boat. I won't go over it too much, but he took us out. There was about 10 of us on this boat, a really small boat, and he just freaked everybody out because he's one of those people who was obviously, I would say, maybe a bit mentally unstable. And you could see it in his eyes that he truly, truly believed it. And then that was the terrifying point about it, that he was so certain that this is what was happening on this planet. And you had 10 pretty terrified people because he was in control of the boat and thinking he could do anything. You capsize the boat right now. We're in the middle of nowhere in Fiji, literally in the middle of nowhere. And everyone was pretty terrified with that. And then the other one is, used to stay at my friend's house who had a farmhouse back in the day. It actually got burgled that we know about as well. So I think that was a little bit of a heightened, scary thing. And then they would make us sleep in separate rooms in the farmhouse as well. And most of the time when I went to go
Pretty
and stay,
young then as well.
Yeah,
definitely under 10, I would say. Normally, you'd kind of stay in the same room, or most of the time. Say I went to Dave's, I'd sleep on the floor, maybe in an army sleeping bag. Or you, Meds, would sleep on the floor in a mattress. And you're normally in the same room. And then I remember I was in a separate guest room, and there was a Hoover at the foot of the bed. Sometimes they had clothes hanging by the window, and it just created really horrible sort of
shadows,
images of the shadows, and then your little mind kind of gets away with you. And I think it's all ghosts. It was
I remember that room because I did stay
Horrible.
in there as well, and I'm sure there was like a tree outside, and it sort of like would flicker against the window now and again, and
Tree shadows are great.
childhood fears, like your imagination as a child can just run wild, can't it?
And you know what? Like now, I think about looking, say, out of that window now. Like maybe it did happen a couple times, but I could just imagine, like, typical sort of scene, like a full moon, like a big sort of tree creating, like, the image contrast behind it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just it was quite a creepy.
There's
place.
something
You know what I mean?
terrifying about when you're on your own, and I don't know, maybe you've had a bit of a weird day and you're cooking and you think you see something out the corner of your eye. Isn't it?
You get
And
that
then,
now and again.
But it's when it's dark, like now, and you've got the light on and you haven't shut the curtains, so your window is like just pitch black, and anything could come to. They can see you, and you can't see them at all unless they come that close.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something. Oh, that is freaky, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm a stickler for that though. If I put the light on, the blinds are like closed.
Yeah.
Or
Done.
everything's closed.
Because you think about it.
I think about people can see straight in.
Yeah.
And you are like this light in your house. You can see, everyone can see straight in, can't they?
Talking about lights and not being able to see outside. Do you remember your party, Dave, when you were 16 or 18 at your house?
Yeah.
And do you remember the mask that Chris was wearing? And he tried to... You remember that?
Yeah.
He
it
had
was
that
like this really
white...
cheapy sort of like, just a cheap
plastic,
mask.
wasn't
It was a really clear plastic mask, but it had like eyebrows on it. It had
And a little moustache.
on it.
Yeah.
You put it on,
Really creepy.
just change your features completely. You look like a completely
creepy.
different person.
And,
so you could really freak people out
and he
with
was
it.
trying to scare people because he was out in like the fields and stuff
He
wearing that mask.
scared Birch.
Oh,
Believe
my
Birch
God.
was gone.
Ah, right.
Yeah, because our mate Dan, like Chris Martin, I'm going to name drop him here because hopefully he listens to this.
If he is listening,
He was standing there like he was a scarecrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Dan
right
walked
at the end
up
of the
to him.
field, yeah.
So he had his
That's
arms
it.
to the side and
then
was like
came
really
down.
still.
Really creepy.
Oh, that
Good
was
effort,
good.
Chris. That's
Yeah.
good shit out of
Yeah,
all
if
of
I
us,
think
mate.
about that was a solid effort. And we were only 16, 17, 18 at the time. And he came up with that idea, got the mask, I don't know, it was quite funny.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was
I
really
remember.
good.
I remember this one time as well. I was in my living room in Nantglyn, and Anthony Ryan knocked on the door,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, come in. And what came into my living room was not Anthony Ryan, right? It was Anthony Ryan in a mask of an old man.
Oh.
And I've never felt so like very quickly shocked like at anything. I was almost like trying to get away on the sofa. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
It's horrible, that is.
Oh,
It's horrible. Because your fear just takes
I
over
think
your
I
body,
cried.
isn't it?
it's
It's
so
like
scary that was.
flight or freeze, basically, isn't it?
I froze.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Oh,
froze.
yeah, I do with stuff like that.
Could've done
I
anything.
freeze, just like...
Oh, please make it stop.
Yeah.
But no, I can't think of anything else really supernatural or anything like... I don't
I might be
wood, though.
forgetting
I
something.
need more
Ghost
time to
stuff.
think about it.
UFO is a good one, sort of thing. Like I'm sure a lot of people have kind of seen something in the sky, and like you know what, maybe it is explainable, but without all the information at your fingertips of like the sky scanners that you have nowadays, and maybe it's like a weather balloon or something weird. You don't know, do
No.
you? But when you're looking at that sky and you're thinking that does not look normal.
Well, they say now that there's so much junk floating around outside the Earth. It's hard to launch rockets now because they can
right,
get
the
hit.
amount of airspace.
You got to really time it right and stuff,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
which is really sad actually.
Yeah.
That is-
Going back to being scared and stuff, I used to live out in the sticks in Treadall, and in winter when I got the school bus, I had to walk home up the drive. It was just getting dark, and in the woods it's dark.
Yeah.
yeah.
Though, and you can hear crunching,
Yeah.
real or not. You can hear it. So you're just like, oh, that's nice. I remember my next door neighbour, Dominic, jumping out of one of the hedges once, and honestly, I was so scared. Oh my God, this reminds me of another scary story as well. Walking home really pissed down the avenue one night.
Yeah.
There was a guy just, do you know, after the park, so you come in up to where the rugby club is,
Yeah.
there's a guy wearing like a Halloween mask, just stood in the hedge.
That's horrible.
Terrifying.
Just didn't move.
That's absolutely horrible.
Didn't move. And I was like, I
Hi,
can
mate.
really see that. I was like, I'm walking home really fast. And those are the days where I got my mobile phone out and pretended to be on the phone so he wouldn't attack me.
And then it rang and it really embarrassing.
That'll keep you safe.
Sorry.
Huh? Oh my God.
That's a good effort. All you need is like a
just
navy
stood
coloured
there.
boiler suit and then the Halloween mask.
Yeah.
That's
And the
basically all you
yellow
need,
lights
isn't it?
made him look so scary.
I bet that was minging.
Oh,
I bet that was
yeah, it was
absolutely
Michael
minging.
Myers stood in the middle of the avenue. It was brilliant.
You're right, though. I think, I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? Like, maybe with a bit more time sort of thing, you'd think of more
yeah,
things,
it
but
would.
nothing's coming like to your mind apart from the tap and, you know what I mean?
I don't think so, no. It's really frustrating. But, hang on, actually, saying that. Do you remember when, because I used to do a lot of DJing, and we were coming back really late one night from Haverfordwest,
Yeah.
over the Preseli Mountains,
Yeah.
and it was me, you, and someone else in the car,
Yeah.
and we saw this massive light behind this farmhouse, and we absolutely bricked it because we were like, what the hell is that? Do you not remember this?
I was
And-
there.
and-
I was there.
Oh.
It was
That was
me.
you.
Yeah.
It was you, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
And there was a lady in the car as well.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, what? So
Sorry.
I might not have been there. Is that right? Is that
Yeah,
why
I think-
I'm
and
not maybe
I
remembering
got
it?
down there really late. So I was like towards the tail end of when the night was ending, I think.
Yeah,
And
you
then
had
I
a
just
lift
got a lift
back.
back with you.
Mate, it was.
Yeah, I remember the
So do
black...
you remember that?
and we
Yeah, because I
stopped.
don't remember that.
We
I don't
stopped and we all looked at each other after and we were like, it's pitch black again. What the hell was that light?
I wanted to go back because I remember I had a camera, and the girl was like, "No,
No chance.
She was screaming.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was
No
really
way.
weird, that was.
Yeah, because we couldn't figure it
What?
out because it was a big blue light, kind of just hovering. It was quite misty.
Yeah.
But it was like
It
this
was a
big
perfect
blue
scene.
Yeah, it was, and it was. I don't know, but we were trying to sort of figure it out because it was like,
Like
well, if that's
logically.
if that's like a floodlight in the farm, then they'd never sleep because honestly
it was-
the
it was
light was so
so
bright.
bright.
It might have been a guy with a torch, a power of 1,000 candles. Turn it
I
on.
don't know, yeah. But no, that was quite freaky. I'm
mean,
not really
yeah.
sounding here, but when you were there in the middle of the night, so it was like 2 or 3
And then
o'clock
it
in the
just went off.
morning, and
Yeah.
it just went off, and you were like, okay, that was quite creepy.
What was that? What was that? And then it
Yeah.
escalates and it's like, what was that? Oh my God, what
Yeah.
was that? Why isn't it carrying on? What was it? It's too light to be any sort of headlight of a car.
Oh, definitely, it was
It was-
really bright.
Yes, floodlight would have fit the bill, but like, why would you have one that bright? It was insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Like, it was like lightning. It lit up the sky. It was insane.
No, that's weird.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
Yeah.
so weird.
But no, top of my head. But going back to the films again, then,
Yeah.
if you were to recommend one film to
To someone who hasn't
who
seen,
hasn't seen it, or
What is it? Is in like
Like
a
a-
horror movie?
yeah, as in a horror film, because obviously we're discussing horror films. If you
That
would
is
say
a good
if
question.
you were to sort of advise or recommend one horror film
I'm
tonight,
going to do one from
what would
recent.
you watch?
Well, I'm going to do one from recent, if I may, and one from
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
good
back
idea.
in the day.
we can
Let's
do
do
that.
that.
We can do
Recently,
that.
I would recommend watching Midsummer.
You know what? I haven't seen that. I know
Well, I
what
recommend
it's
watching
kind
it.
of about a little bit, like the cult. It's that one, isn't it? But I have not seen that. Movie.
Yeah, it's loosely based on. I think it's a Swiss tradition.
Crikey.
No. The Swiss do not do what they do in this film, but it's loosely based. Like the premise is true.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, come back to me because I'm thinking. About the
Okay.
back in
Have
the
you
day
got a
horror film.
modern one?
Exorcist?
that
There you
you-
go. Exorcist.
Ah,
Watch The
okay, so
Exorcist.
the old one, right? Okay, and then Midsummer. Okay. Davo, have you got an old one or a new one?
I really like Babadook.
As your modern one,
Yeah,
I
I'd say
suppose,
that's as
yeah.
modern as I'm going to get because I haven't watched a huge amount of horrors in the
Yeah.
last sort of like 5 or 10 years probably. So I'd say Babadook is probably up there for me.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good
Old one, it's got to be Exorcist.
yeah.
But please, like, I'm saying that with caution as well because my wife has said she wants to watch it, and I've said to her,
Has she not watched it?
No,
Are you gonna? Would you watch it with her?
no.
Are you serious?
I'll never
I
ever watch
might.
that film ever
Are you
again.
serious? You
If I
don't-
ever walked in and like honestly,
on.
it freaked me out.
Good.
Totally freaked me out.
I love
Well
the
done, whoever made that film,
I
that
love
you
the
did your
strong,
job.
the strong react. Like that is a strong reaction, isn't it? That you
Yeah,
wouldn't
there's no
watch
way.
it with her. That's amazing. Is it? I'm just saying it's amazing because
Yeah.
it's had such an effect.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I could watch it again, and I probably will because Halloween's coming up, and I haven't seen it in such a long time. I think I'm going to probably watch it soon.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking forward to it. If I'm honest.
Dukes, hit us. What's your record, mate?
I'll go. I know we've talked about it, but I'll go Session 9. It's sort of a mod. It's not modern at all, really. Like, thinking about it, it's probably made in, like, 2003, which is almost 20 years ago. But I guess it's sort of maybe more of a modern one. And then, I'm just trying to think now. That could be a modern one. I don't know why, it just literally popped into my head now. The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that one? And what I think...
Is that those mutant guys?
It's the Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think there's something about a hillbilly that's actually just pretty fucking scary. If I'm
House of a Thousand Corpses.
You imagine like someone. I mean, it's pretty terrifying. I think that's why like Leatherface. Like apparently he was like a mixture of different people to have the idea for Leatherface. And I think one of the ideas was Ed Gein, that serial killer from Wisconsin, I think he is. And he like literally had like nipples like all like sewn together, lamps made out of skin.
Legs made of like from tibias and fibulas and things.
And then Ed Gein also was the idea loosely for Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs as well. He was a mixture of people from that film, if you know what I mean. So the thing is, though, would you call that a horror film?
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Again, I think it's the crime aspect, and
it's like Seven in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's similar. Really good movie, though.
That's a hell of a film.
The whole series, I love
really
the series.
movie.
I've listened to all the books as well. They're really good.
My God, that's a good film. I remember that now.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna watch that.
I quite
again.
like the ideas that. But yeah, Ed Gein, he's actually like I think they take because he like made the suits like out of like women, and then he would wear them. Yeah, exactly, Buffalo Bill. But anyway, I'm waffling here. So Session 9, and then we'll just go like, well, what did I say? Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes.
But like, I think there was another like Wrong Turn. I don't know. I think I quite like the weird deranged hillbilly ones, because that on telly now, right?
Woods, is that one?
Like, can you imagine being tortured by a bunch of hillbillies? Can you imagine just as gross? What were you going to say, Dave?
Well, yeah, sorry to jump on.
No, it's fine.
Here, but you know the Australian one where...
Yes.
What the hell's that one when it's based on...
Wolf Creek.
Oh, that's horrific.
Yeah. I think there's just something
based
terrifying
on stuff, you know?
about... it's just something terrifying about that type of person. I don't know, like a deranged hillbilly.
Who just wants to have some sick...
Well, yeah.
Game.
Him and his sisters.
Oh, man, that film is horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the backpack... what is the surname of that guy? He's got a weird foreign surname. I say foreign, like it sounds like Polish.
I think he is.
He's got like that handlebar mustache, dark hair. I can literally picture him, and he's the backpacker killer, and he did it on the Hume Highway, I think it was, and then he went off into that forest area and tortured them. That is going to kill me with the name of that guy, Mazdak or no.
It's really annoying.
I can't
I've
anyway,
read a book on it. I've watched documentaries on it. That's really annoying.
But yeah, you're right.
Do you know what's really annoying?
Wolf
I keep
Creek.
thinking of Klopek, but it's definitely not Klopek. It's just the verbs.
Definitely
Sardine.
That's really horrible. If you
Wolf Creek.
Read up on anything like that, that was really sick, because he took us to a place where literally no one would hear you screaming out back in Australia.
So you'd
be screaming at the top of your lungs.
And also, he's literally going to torture you.
Yeah.
And you're going to know that
well.
you're going to be tortured all night. And then, I mean, don't get worse than that. Don't get worse than that. You know what? Actually, I'm going to mention one thing. You're right. It's actually a podcast, and it's a real thing, because weirdly, we've been talking about so many movies. This is terrifying, and this is definitely to do with being scared, and it's Halloween and stuff like that. Right. Podcast. Probably one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to, right? And it is I think it's called The Man in the Window, right? And it's about the Golden State Killer, who they've actually caught now with DNA.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he got caught and tried maybe a couple of years ago. It was pretty recently, right? And this one scene is absolutely horrific. He broke into this family's house. They might have had kids. I think they had kids, right? And then he put the kids and the wife in one room, and then he tied up the man in a separate room, and he put crockery all over his back, and he put bowls and plates and everything. He tied him up so his belly was on the floor, put all this crockery on it, and he goes, "If I hear that come off your back, I'm going to kill the whole family." And then he went in and he tied up the kids, and then let's just say he did some gross stuff.
Yeah, mate. Oh.
And that,
I might just not listen to that.
No.
Yeah, but that is one of the. It's still honestly, it's a really, really good podcast, and it is a wondery podcast.
Yeah,
but that is terrifying. And that guy is real, and he was out there and he was doing home invasions and he was killing people. And
it was
he
like
didn't
70s or 80s, wasn't it?
and he didn't get caught until like literally a few years ago because of DNA. And he was an ex police state trooper.
Oh, so he'd know some
Yeah,
things.
he knew like. I mean, that might be a whole different podcast when you talk about like the BTK killer
I'd love to
and
talk
then
about crime and
Zodiac
Fate
killer
and how it was possible for them all to get
Summer
away with
Sam.
it so long.
There's loads of good stuff out there.
You know what though? Very difficult to get away with it nowadays with the technology and the DNA and people sharing things and phones and people videoing. And like you think about Ted Bundy, like I just not sure if it could happen now.
No, there's too much stuff that they
Not past maybe one or two.
Oh yeah, obviously they,
No one can predict someone's going to do it now.
No, and then also back in the day, they didn't share information in between different states with the police.
No.
So he could kill a few people in one state, then he could go somewhere else, kill people. Exactly the same MO of the murders, and they wouldn't join the dots.
Wouldn't know.
So you just get away with it, which is crazy.
boys.
I got one last question for you. So,
go.
Worst horror film you've ever seen?
Oh, it's in like the worst, like rubber.
Just the shittest, or the
Sharknado.
Is that horror? I suppose it is.
It might be
Science fiction, wacky. Mine's easy. Mine's The Nun. There's a
Rubbish.
film called The Nun. Right? Don't bother.
I'm not even going to write it down.
Don't even bother.
No.
Okay. Avoid
weirdly-
Sharknado. Avoid The Nun.
Avoid The Nun.
And then
Or Driller Killer, avoid that as well.
Horror film. You know what? I'm struggling to think of stuff, so I'm just going to go Snakes on a Plane.
What's that based on?
True story, apparently. But I don't even know if you would call it a horror, but not the best.
Cool, boys. We've absolutely smashed into that one.
Have a spooky time.
Are we happy?
Yeah, I think
Really
we find
happy.
it
That
quite,
was a really good one.
it's quite easy to talk about.
That was good.
Films and horror, and then a little bit of serial killers, a few tangents there. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Nice.
boys.
Nice
Nice
one.
one.
Awesome.
Cheerio.
Yep.